It was an idea. It was this thought of you could have a retail sign shop when there were no retail sign shops. It was this idea that you could put people in a business that didn't have any sign experience. I mean, you could always look back and say, boy, I wish I had done this or I wish I'd done that. I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change it. I mean, if we end up where we are today, I wouldn't want to change anything. Okay. Are we filming now?
Oh, we're going.
Oh, okay. I didn't know we were going. My 8th grade school paper was how to start a franchise company. I think I got a B+ on the paper, and that was because of grammar. It's funny because I interviewed my dad.
My grandfather started a franchise company called Minuteman Press. How the story goes, my dad was brought home, worked for Minuteman, and my grandfather gave him a stack of plane tickets. And so my dad was on the road for months and months and months and selling franchises and helping to build Minuteman. But it became very clear very soon for my dad that he wanted to do his own thing. He wanted to start his own business and kind of carve his own way.
I never had a conversation to go to my father and say, I want to open up a sign business.
Up until that point, signage businesses were really just artists. They were painters, intricate carvers.
Minuteman had done a lot of business with the 3M company, and 3M had invented the vinyl process used in making signs. And that's when we stumbled on the sign business.
Computers and vinyl really changed the whole game. My dad and my grandfather and a lot of other people within Minuteman really realized that this is an opportunity to start a company.
We opened up that first store, 1986, Hempstead Turnpike, Farmingdale, Long Island. Then it really, really stuck. It was a great business. The plan was always to franchise this at some point, but we wanted to test, are franchise owners gonna have to hire somebody that has experience, or could you get away with hiring somebody without experience?
I almost brought my red glasses, Mandy. There was an ad in the Long Island Newsday that said, trainee position, no experience necessary, full company training benefits, call this number. And I remember sitting at my mother's table, circling the ad, going, oh, that's me. Got the call on a Friday afternoon from Bob Emmett, and he said, congratulations. And I thought, great, I won the lottery. I don't even need a job. This is wonderful. And he says, this is Bob Emmett from Speedy Signorama USA. The store opens Monday morning at 8:30. We'll see you there. Have a nice weekend. And he hung up. What just happened? What's my job? How much am I being paid? I didn't know anything.
He was somebody that I felt really we could build around, and that Jim would be a big cornerstone of the early stages of development with our company.
I became the training instructor, and I became a Signorama executive eventually.
My friends, they said, okay, so you open up this sign company in Farmingdale. There's a sign company there that's been there for 100 years. How are you gonna compete with this store? They have all these trucks, hundreds of employees. And my answer surprised them because I said, how are they gonna compete with us?
The history in the industry was people used to have to wait weeks, even months, to get their sign needs met.
They are not gonna be able to compete with our turnaround times because we have the time. We didn't have any other customers.
Within 2 days, you get a proof, and then you can have the sign within 7 days. Back then, that was unheard of. Nobody does it that fast. We were changing the way people bought signs.
We could put more time and effort into the customers, and we built a relationship together.
That was a new way to break into the market.
It ended up being true. They could not compete with us.
My dad was 25 and he was the old man of the group. A lot of the people that went into business with them were the same age.
It's 1986. I'm 21. Ray's 24. We were nuts. We worked like dogs, like animals.
Yep, I started out in the very first Signorama store in New York. A lot of stories. Some you can tell, some you can't. And Jim Tatum probably can tell you that.
There's probably stories that should never be published.
There was a work hard, play hard environment.
Whatever we did, we were going big all the time.
Everyone he was with was young and different stages of life.
How does Jimmy Butler say it? It's something like we're the sum.
We're a collection of our own life's experiences and other people's stories. God, do I love that one. I gotta trademark it.
It's actually quite profound. Don't tell him I said that, because many of the things Butler says, you go, Jimmy, that makes absolutely no sense, okay?
JJ Prendamano was the manager of the Farmingdale store when Jim was the marketing person there.
I used to get in very early to the Sinorama store in Farmingdale, and it was just to be to talk to him. It had nothing to do with work. It had everything to do with life. We used to be that vocal person, the cheerleader, everything you wanted from somebody to uplift you.
We were young and we were running the business, and JJ was a lot of times the adult in the room. He was a tremendous sounding board for me. He was the Dutch uncle for all the employees. There were people that say he was the emotional side, the heart, and I was the driver of the business, and they wouldn't be far off. I always had a big heart for our people and our franchisees, always, but JJ even took that further. It was always bigger than just the Sinorama business. It was the Sinorama family. We don't have anything without franchise owners.
Our first meeting was Roy, Ray, me, and my dad. You know, Ray is starting out, and I'm being given an opportunity to start out.
Ray was getting yelled at by Roy.
We were getting yelled at by my father.
And we had to...
Like, he would walk in once a week and say, "You're going out of business. You're going out of business."
When they opened up, we had $3,000 in the bank account. So it was a bunch of kids building a corporation. A business with no sign is a sign of no business.
A business with no sign is a sign of no business, goes the saying at Speedy's Sinorama USA.
You made that sign in Sinorama School and proudly displayed it in your lobby.
You know, the original stores were on Long Island and New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, New England. Eventually, we went a little further south to Mid-Atlantic, then we went west.
We were building and growing a great franchise company. Minuteman Press's headquarters was in Farmingdale, and Sinorama's headquarters was in that same building. My dad came in my office and he said, "I've got good news and bad news for you. What do you want first?" I said, "Give me the good news." And he said, "You're doing an incredible job with Sinorama, and it's really coming along, and it's doing great." And I said, "What's the bad news?" He said, "We had the fire marshal in. You got to move." I had people in closets and hallways. I was taking full advantage of this free office that we had.
We're not kicking you out. I mean, we are, but we believe that what you guys are doing is working, and now it's time to go.
I was looking on Long Island for another office, and I couldn't find another office that we could afford. I took advantage of finding a new place, but making it Florida. I came back to New York, called a meeting, and said, "I found a building. It's just 1,250 miles from where we're sitting right now. And who doesn't want to move to Florida?"
I'm just like, when does my plane leave? Okay.
We packed up in 1989 between Christmas and New Year's, 3 18-wheelers, pulled out from Farmingdale and Minuteman Press's headquarters, and never looked back.
Roy had enough trust in Ray that Ray was going to build this thing. So like a rite of passage. You've proven yourself well enough here. We see the model is working. We know the opportunity is there that you guys can grow, but you need to be able to spread your wings a little bit more. Go to Florida and become the standalone brand. And that's what happened.
When we got out from the shadow of Minuteman Press, we got so much tighter and so much better as an organization, and the company went like that.
If you own a motorcycle, there's a governor. You take the governor off, you go a lot faster. I think we removed the governor, and it was just explosive at that point.
People out there go to the 3, 4, 5 different sign shops. They don't have to do that anymore. They can deal with a quick sign shop. They can deal with a commercial sign shop. They can deal with Speedy Sinorama USA for all their sign needs.
The 90s were about expand. The 90s were about making the system better.
Yeah, Maria and I had no clue what a sign was, you know what I mean? And here we were. We got involved in this.
So when we bought the store, we were Speedy Sinorama USA.
Yep, in 93.
1993.
Wow, 93.
And, yeah, I remember.
Nothing speedy about it at the time. That's
It
for
was
sure.
not Speedy, but it was called Speedy.
Well, it was Speedy
Well,
in
because-
those days.
There wasn't even a fax. I don't think the fax machine physically existed when we opened up the business. The fax machine came out, and that was cutting edge.
3M first came out with the plotter vinyl back in the day.
We had a plotter called a graphotype plotter, and it had a blade that was about this big, looked like a chisel, and that thing was slow.
And then the scanner. I mean, game changer.
Yeah, but we skipped from the fax machine to the scanner, and in between that, we were digitizing. You had a tablet and a mouse device with crosshairs and buttons on it, and somebody would give you their artwork. If you were lucky, you got black and white camera-ready art on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper that an offset printer produced. Or if you weren't lucky, you got a matchbook cover that you photocopied and tried to blow up as big as you could, and you digitized off that. And digitizing would then create vector art that was on our 286 computer with a monochrome screen that was black and green. After we made the logo, we could go pick from our 4 fonts that we had, or 5 fonts. I think it was in Times New Roman, Bauhaus,
Brush script.
Brush Script, and probably Universe 67.
They were $800 a piece.
The fonts were a cartridge, like, I'd make an Atari reference, but you wouldn't know what that is either.
You'd plug the font in when you wanted to change from Helvetica to Times Semi-Bold or Brush Script.
We had samples of the type styles behind the counter, and people could choose what they wanted.
If somebody said to you, no, I want it to be cursive, you're like, oh, man.
And then guess what the next thing was, guys? A digital camera. Dave Masterson came up on stage with a digital camera showing it to people how you could take a picture and then take a disc out of it, because it was a disc back then, and then put into your computer so you can get a picture and work on a rendering for a client.
And then we would just have stacks and stacks of paper.
Oh my God.
File cabinets.
File
cabinets
cabinets
were blowing
and
up.
paper and-
There's a funny story of Lino in training. After the trainer said, is there any question? He goes, yeah, what's this? And it was the mouse. He had not used the computer before. He didn't know what a computer was. He didn't know what the mouse was. In true Lino fashion, it was, hey, what's this? What do we do with this?
I felt like such an ass,
Then we moved to a computerized system, and you could pick up the word with the cursor and move it left and right. And I was like, what? Are you kidding? But back then, this was cutting edge stuff, man. And we were in the forefront of that.
By the mid-90s, when the sign industry was just starting to really take off with the start of digital printing, some of the computerization, it was really, really starting to accelerate.
When I started, you had to do a 4x8 panel. You're up on top of the table, you're crawling around. You might have another guy holding, you're trying to squeegee. Now you can get that 4x8 panel done in a few seconds with the roller. It's grown from the eco-solvent to the latex to our first store adding a flatbed printer. There's not a lot from a product standpoint that's changed. It's been efficiencies and advancement in technology and materials.
Utilizing the latest in computer technology, the Speedy Design pros can assist customers in expressing their message through expert logos reproduced in color on just about any surface imaginable.
I think in the early years, the stigma of Signarama as a franchise was that we were a banner shop, a print shop, and we were. I mean, our first year of business was birthday banners and car magnets, door vinyl for a business. Once printing came around, it sort of changed the game where we could become leaders of that part of the industry because the big sign shops didn't want anything to do with it. And eventually you become an expert in your market, you get known for your level of service, not just for your product. But I think it took 15, maybe even 20 years of our brand development for the brand to actually be seen as a true full sign company.
Entrepreneur Ray Titus saw an opportunity to capitalize on the new technology by creating a one-stop sign center.
Most visionaries and leaders can see something coming down the road. They have an uncanny ability to see it before it happens. Ray sees it down the road and around the corner. Like nobody even has eyes on it yet, and he can see it.
My dad always had that mindset of thinking globally, thinking big. He also had a saying of, if you want to grow, you have to go.
My dad and the Minuteman C-suite, they did not want me to go international. There's a dozen states we're not even open in. Why would we go international? Focus on America. You don't know anything about these other countries, blah, blah, blah. When JJ and I got outside to wait for our cab, JJ looked at me and he said, we're going international, aren't we? And I said, you're damn right we're going international. JJ said, what's the plan? I said, you're going to see. We sold a master license and they started franchising. And then we had another board meeting. JJ and I had to fly back up to New York. So I had that master license put on a separate P&L statement with nothing else explaining where it came from. I passed it out and said, I got to get your opinion. Should I do more of this or less of this? And every one of them said, you should do more of this. I said, okay, that's international. My father said, okay, USOB, okay. And he goes, go international.
You know, obviously we were in New York, and then it was Florida.
And
And
then
then
they
it's
started
sort of like
connecting.
filling up all this United States thing with
West Coast,
pieces,
California.
which I thought was pretty cool. You know, here we are in, you know, California. And then one day they announced they were in Italy.
There were probably about 15 of us in the company at the time, and we were growing really, really fast. We were opening franchises left and right.
I remember sitting at an expo where Ray stood on stage and he was talking about how Signarama was growing and we were going international and we're going to open up all these locations in other countries.
It was expanding to international because the logo was where the world goes for signs, and it was like, it was becoming more global and we were becoming a bigger company.
If no one wanted to go to a country, Scott would go. Who wants to go to Zimbabwe? Scott will go. Who wants to go to India? Scott will go. Who wants to go to wherever?
Ray would come in and he would say, I want to open up a store in China. And all of us are like, oh, this and Ray would say, I don't care what it takes, but this is gonna happen. And then basically he'd leave. We learned early on that no was never an option.
They took me to the section where all the sign shops go. There were 100 sign shops all there. I said, I don't want to go there. I want to go where they're not. They go, you can't do that. I can't do that?
The owner needed to move the front door to the other side of the building for feng shui reasons.
Oh my gosh, the hurdles internationally can be daunting.
They held all of our equipment and everything that we had shipped there hostage. And so I literally had to go down to the docks and pay people in US dollars to get our equipment off the dock to get it into the store. And then you'd have other issues, like we got, I think, like 6 feet of snow the day after I arrived. And I was like, oh, well, that takes care of that. Oh, no. They had the snowshoes, they had the big fur hat, and they were there at 8 o'clock to pick me up, and we were like, snowshoeing to market. Okay, great. Those were the things that had to happen. But we opened up the stores. They were successful. They ran and they were brilliant, and it was amazing.
Then I went to Paris to present to our French franchisees, and what an experience. Whatever they say that they think about Americans, the French, they love us. We had a great time.
It really took off. To this day, there's only 2 countries that we sell direct in. It's the United States and it's Australia.
Australia was special because right place, right time, right brand, right people involved with it. Like it was, I don't want to say lightning in a bottle because that sounds lucky, but there definitely was an aspect of luck to the story.
There was a franchise expo here in Melbourne. We went there fully expecting to sign up with Snap or Quick Copy or something like that. And this is where fate took a turn.
And I still clearly remember walking in, and the first booth I saw was Signarama.
And we came within about, probably 10 metres of the Signarama stand. Someone would come out and shake your hand, and while they shook your hand, they'd draw you into the booth.
But as I walked around, and it just kept on sticking in my mind, signs. Cliche, but everyone needs signs.
We didn't expect this. We don't know anything about science. This is an untested thing in Australia. It might be a runaway winner in America, but we're not too sure. But we overcame that fear, and that launched us on the Signarama trail.
But it ended up being one of the best decisions we've made as a company is to go direct to Australia and work with the franchise owners there and build the business. Australia has around 28 million people. We have 103 locations. It's a special place, special country, special people.
The first time I came across Signarama was in 1997. The people that were involved with setting up our location, one of them was Michael Brugger. He didn't even know where New Zealand was. and he came down and was involved in setting up the shop, so it was quite funny. The fact that here's our first American and not even knowing where the country was.
Australia has become really an extension of our office here in the US. Like, we look at Australia and the US, not the same, because it's not the same country, it's not the same culture. I want to come across the wrong way, but it really is a part of the brand. And same thing with our master partners. Our master partner, Sammy, who's Olivier's son, he learned everything about our brand and what we do, and he's taken that back to France, and now they're going to be extremely successful. They already are successful.
My parents are actually the people that brought Signarama into France, and they became master franchisees in 2002. They opened the very first Signarama location in Paris, and today we have now reached about 50 locations.
Every country we went to, while there were challenges, you can't go in to change them. In the same breath, you can't give up your core. Our family holds each other accountable, achieves great things, and we have people from all walks of life. And they're all part of the family.
When more and more people were successful, they wanted to talk to each other. I think a big part of that transition was they went from regional meetings to having one big expo. This was a really contentious, debated topic of, we're gonna have an expo in Las Vegas. This is a bad idea. There's gonna be a problem with the casino and we're bringing everyone together, but they ended up doing it.
Experience our future. See you in Las Vegas.
Best thing that we've ever done. So I think that was part of the transition to get communicating better. The corporate office might have been afraid to bring everyone together for multiple reasons. Now it's the total opposite, where we want more and more people to connect. We're trying to find out better ways for people to connect and more of them to connect with better owners. That's what we're trying to do.
Like most of Signarama franchisees, we knew nothing about the sign business, you know?
When Signarama would hold the expos, we got to talk to everybody, and we got a different perspective. That was how we grew in our learning process.
Also, that's when the expos
Were international expos.
were really international.
And people would come across.
Which was a ton of fun.
The Aussies used to come,
and
the
French.
English people, the French used to
Yes.
come, Spain used to come.
Go to these expos and see Ray Titus or Jim Tatum on stage, literally blowing everyone's mind. I mean, running, full sprinting from one end of the stage to the other.
You leave the expo and you're like invigorated and you're ready to like conquer the world.
The award ceremony was always the hardest because it was very chaotic. There were hundreds of awards literally to give out, and it was trial by fire.
I actually remember when Scott Mast was quiet and reserved.
And don't even get me started with a shot or two inside of me. My jokes are like, you know, flying.
He was kind of the behind the scenes guy at expos, just sort of making things happen. And then it was just like all of a sudden, who in the world is this guy?
I had to pull AJ out of his shell because he was always like this when I was up there, you know, dancing to Madonna or, you know, making jokes about people's crappy outfits.
You learn a little thing here and you learn a little thing there. It was always about the nuggets, right?
Yeah, the nuggets.
The rising tide lifts all ships.
You know, when you're going through good times, you can enjoy the good times, and you should, but you don't build character during good times. You build your character during bad times.
I became the president in 2008. Yeah. Worst year to become the president of any company is when there's a major global financial crisis.
Percent this morning, and it's not just Bear. Pretty much every single bank is plunging in early trade this morning.
Stock market drop is affecting the way people are buying and selling.
I remember how tough it was, and I had franchise owners calling me every day that their phones weren't ringing. It was like people had been in business for 10 years, were starting all over again.
My mom and dad were struggling. Everything was just kind of like in this unknown.
No business was without problems. Restaurants didn't have customers, grocery stores didn't have groceries, and literally no one was buying signs.
Bob Chappa had, I think it was his monument sign, said, "We're not participating in the recession," you know, and it's like, we got this, you know, things are gonna get through. And 2 years into it, it's like things were getting bad.
You didn't know where the bottom was, and you didn't know what was. You just had to keep going.
I think that was the most important thing, was staying in touch with each other. The owner that I'm personally closest with is Bob Chapa up in Detroit. And he was going through a really tough time.
Our sales dropped so quickly that we could barely support the people that we had. We couldn't buy materials.
He and I talked every single day just because we were both trying to keep each other's chin over the water and keep paddling. And we would help each other as much as we could. I remember calling some of Bob's estimates just to try to make some sales for him, because he was just in a dark place one day.
That was the first time that I felt like more than just a franchisee. Okay, this is bigger than just us.
I feel very, very lucky to have met Maggie early in my sign career. You know, Maggie and Brian have, without a doubt, have changed the way that we've operated our business. I was just worried about, could I pay the rent, and are we going to get kicked out of this building? And Ray had hundreds of franchisees to deal with, and his own rent and his own staff all over the world. And he took every call. Every single time I called him, took every one of them.
Bob was not the only one. There were a lot of franchise owners that had a lot of problems, and we had to work through a lot of things. We had to as well. So it was a really, really hard time.
I went way into credit card debt, trying to keep the business afloat. It's easy when you get in trouble to blame other people. And I'd made some snide comment on corporate, and JT called me, and he's been, what? He goes, what's going on? He goes, that's not you, and I know you. And I broke down crying. I just told him where we were, the situation, about to lose the company. And he goes, I will come to Dallas and we'll spend a day working it out. So he flew to Dallas, spent the whole day and just putting a plan together, how to get out of this, how to start from zero. Business in 10 years, lost everything, all my employees, and started from scratch. Thinking, I wouldn't be here, wouldn't have made it through that. I mean, ultimately, that's the deal, right? People that just have your back and know they want your best interest for them.
We had a fight. And one thing that I've always been is a fighter. We were able to get through that through the grace of God and a lot of great owners, finding pathways for success, finding the silver lining, turning lemons into lemonade. And it was every day. I look back on that, and it made us a stronger company for sure. Without question, it made me a better business person, but it made us a better company, and we learned those lessons.
You don't really know what matters until you're back down to square one again. It definitely changed the relationships.
So the Chapas of the world, the Maggie Harlows of the world, the Rogers of the world, all of them were like, you know what? Whatever it was that made us successful up until this point, we're going to go back and do those things all over again.
You fall in love with SEO. You fall in love with, build a website. You fall in love with flashy, shiny, new tech. But the reality is you still have to get back to the basics of taking care of your customers, talking to your customers, face-to-face with them, face-to-face with your employees. Definitely coming out of that crisis was like, we knew what work we had to do, and we did it.
The real value is in the system, in the other owners, and being able to call on them for support, for expertise that they have in the field, actually operating a store. That's priceless to us. That's what really makes a difference for us.
That's part of what I never expected to get out of being a part of a franchise, is these profoundly deep friendships and connections we have with each other. We all want each other to win. We all want each other to be successful.
There was a need for increased communication and collaboration. They all saw it, and they all filled it with each other.
The relationships we've built through the business and the heartache and the things we've been able to do, those are endearing. They'll last a lifetime.
Owning a business, being in leadership, is such a lonely experience sometimes. One of the really cool things that Signorama started in that time was our peer groups. And so I joined a peer group with a couple of other high-performing stores. That feeling that I'm in this all by myself, that evaporates when you're around these kinds of people.
Because what happens whenever you're running a small business day to day is you definitely feel isolated, and you feel like you're the only person that has ever had this problem. You have this community, you have this Facebook group, you have this show, and you just learn that they have 15 different ways that that you can come out stronger from whatever problem you're having.
We joined a peer group early on, and it was so healthy and so beneficial. Those were invaluable meetings.
I think the franchisee culture is I like to use the word family, it gets thrown a lot, but I really think it is. And it's just a family-owned company that drives a family atmosphere of just people that are so helping support other people. And I think that's what differentiates really like Signarama from maybe other businesses and other franchisee brands is that, you know, anybody will stop and help you if you ask for help. I mean, you got to do the asking, you know, first, but it doesn't matter kind of how big they are, how long they've been there, but just really a culture has developed of really wanting to help other people and kind of pass on the years of knowledge to kind of future generations that are going to run with that.
JJ was Ray's father-in-law, and he was just an awesome, warm man. He created the mentor program, and JJ resembled our grandfather physically, and he was as warm as our grandfather was. And we lost our grandfather when we were you was 21 when Grandpa passed?
Yeah.
Right, yeah. We lost him when he was young. So then we always had JJ, who we always saw him as that grandfather figure. He really pushed the love and warmth of a family into the franchise world, and he really made sure he did it and pushed it across at the expos, or the phone calls, or the book that would show up, or just the email, or the quick note, or when they were still on Long Island, he would stop by and we'd go out and have lunch in the middle of the day. It was
It's always genuine.
Genuine good person.
Genuine concern, not because you have to, not because it's in the rule book.
It's because you want to.
It's because you want to.
And you care.
And genuinely always have felt that because people have asked us, you don't need them. Do it on your own. And we've made that choice over and over again to continue to be part of this family because that's how ingrained it is in us.
I remember when we first started, there weren't that many stores. Creating a program that you could call anyone across the country and talk to them and they can call you just brought the support level to an outstanding level.
We were involved in the whole beginning of it
Kind
internally.
of built that family
It
feel.
became like a big family.
The fact that we became mentors to help other people grow their business and kind of strengthen the system, because when we're one, we're much stronger than they are as individuals.
Owners took an interest in helping build the company, helping add more franchises, touring their store, answering questions from new owners, mentoring new franchise owners. Without that, it would have collapsed.
In regards to our mentoring program, this is a program where we've asked experienced franchise owners from all over the world to add their expertise in helping newer store owners grow their business and handle their needs and help them. It's another part of what a good franchise system brings to the table with over 500 stores like ours.
Eventually became an owner, franchisee, and word sort of spread, started talking to a lot of other people, mentors, and other Signaramas around the world, and made a huge difference in the growth of my company.
It was originally designed when Signarama was growing so quickly that they needed help supporting the franchisees. And it became sort of a badge of honor.
There's not a day that goes by that I don't miss him. He was the heart and soul of this company for a long, long time. He's still impacting our franchise owners all these years later. It's special. It's the impact that he's had on our group.
He
He's a great
touched
man.
so many
Yeah,
lives,
yeah,
and I don't think he even realized it because it's just who he was naturally.
We lost him too early, and they broke the mold when they made him.
Yeah. But I love the way he influenced, obviously, Ray, Andrea, the children. You see it. You see it through them now, and I'm convinced that this will just carry forward into the next generation. So that's exciting.
And it's good to speak of him, so that you can share stories and people can say the great things that he did.
He was probably the single reason why it is such a successful program nowadays. And his memory lives with all of us who had the pleasure to meet him, listen to him, be in his presence. And I still have the sticker that he asked me one day to print and put out. It says mentorship provided here. He had it on his door. And, the program's still alive and well here, as it was when he started it.
I've always done a good job of kind of putting myself in position to help people. I've gained so much more out of that from giving back.
Some of the success of this has to do with the franchisees are people-oriented. And when there's problems or there's struggles, they instinctively take the initiative to reach out and ask, what do you need? We've had situations with good friends where it's like, you're struggling. Can I come down and run your business for a week? What can I do? And I know that's happened. I know Bob Chappa has got on an airplane more than once to fly somewhere to help somebody. And, sorry, it gets pretty personal.
I was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2018. Maggie called me every Saturday during my treatments just to say hi. Unknown to me, Bob Chappa called Rick and said, I would like to come down while Karen's in surgery and you're with her and just take care of your business for you so that you can just be there. Those were not idle words. He really meant that. I will always honor and respect that in him.
You still have people call you today.
Yes.
And ask how you're doing.
Yeah.
Just a family network of friends and...
Yes. And that's the power of belonging to the family.
You're not by yourself. It is your business. You are in business for you and for your family, but you are not by yourself. You have a corporate office behind you, you have a brand behind you, and you have all the other franchise owners behind you. And that's a huge difference than being an entrepreneur by yourself and living on an island. And so the ones who do care about other people's opinions and can work together and can have some camaraderie is the best thing they can do.
The people who've invested so much money and so much time and so much resources to be successful, I think it's invaluable and something that we'll never take for granted, the responsibility to support those people. And we're gonna continue to invest and we're gonna continue to grow because it's our obligation to grow this brand.
The family dynamic is wrapped around growth. Change is something we embrace.
As we're hitting 40 years, I think the reality is Signarama is not a small company anymore. We dove into a space that was relatively untouched. And for many, many years, for probably 2 decades, Signarama was known as a print shop or a banner shop or a mom and pop shop. And that identity is completely changing fast. We are the techie company now. We're the service-driven company now. We're the we can build anything company now. And when I think of the next 10, 20, 30 years, everything and anything that has to do with your brand is going to be managed by Signarama. From your vehicle graphics and your building signs, to how you're found. Our job now is to help our customers create their identity and how are they perceived in their space. And that goes way past just signs.
Yes, we have made a lot of changes to the logo, and maybe we'll do it again, who knows. But I think that what drives us is the community, is our franchise community. AJ, Ray Titus, and the rest of the family, they do an incredible job. And it's family-owned business, and they treat it like that. That's the key to their success, and that's the key to our success.
The company changes, people change. People come and go.
The people coming into Signarama now have a wealth of experience to learn from.
So even when leadership changes happen, I think after 23 years, we know we can count on the heart of the business to be unchanging.
We're one of the last large franchise companies that's still family owned. And I think a lot of the franchisees really admire that.
Who they were at the beginning hasn't changed, and I think that it's strong because of that culture.
With a brand like Signarama that's a legacy brand, they want to know their next president.
They were young when we came into the brand, and Ray would warn us. He'd be like, the boys are coming.
I know that everybody knew that my dad wouldn't be the president forever, and then everybody knew that JT wouldn't be the president forever.
He knew that I wanted family involved, and specifically AJ, and he wanted to help train him.
And we spent 3 years with AJ, and what he has done with the brand is nothing short of amazing. Great steward of what he's been given. Great steward of the relationships. And he's got vision, he's got heart, he's got commitment. He wants to do the right thing for them. That's what it takes.
To go from my dad to me to JT, then to AJ, just made all the sense in the world.
It was the ultimate sign of I love you. It was the ultimate sign of like, I trust you. I'm giving you the keys to my baby.
From a business standpoint, Signarama and I have grown up together. The franchise owners that are a part of that, the employees that are a part of that, I look back on it and it's almost like it's a sibling, right? I mean, Signarama, it's Signarama, it's the family.
We have a special group. We have a really special group. The connections and the people that have been a part of this group and the way they have brought me with them has been an incredible blessing. When we say family, it's not just one country. We're many countries, and we've impacted people around the entire world, and people know the brand around the world.
Signarama has changed thousands of people's lives. It's all because they found their way to Signarama, and we found our way to them. Signarama is a big, big influence, and I think it's much more than people even realize.
The friendships that we have made all over the world because of the Signarama brand, I don't think I could be more thankful for anything else.
It's just a really unique experience to connect with people deeply over something like signs.
Signarama is not just a business or a franchise system. It is a family at the end of the day. And families have tough conversations, but also celebrate the wins and the good times.
The Signarama family is a blessing, without doubt. They have blessed our lives in so many ways.
When we first started, they were open-armed because we knew nothing, had nothing here, starting from scratch, but they took us in.
Our family wouldn't be where we are today had we not taken that leap and had Signarama not backed us.
Anybody can make a sign. You know, it's not a rocket science. How you do business, how you treat people, how you treat your employees, how you treat your fellow franchisees. It's not just about selling signs.
At the heart of it is people.
And I think the whole thing in franchising for me is this. You get to play a part in that franchisee's life. When you see them come up on stage and they get an award, they get recognized, they're in an industry publication, you know, I played a part. They did all the work, but you played a part. That's pretty special.
Signarama helps dreams come to life.
The strength of the network is all of us being together and helping each other.
Signarama is so special, so unique.
The best thing in the world is the Signarama Thanksgiving.
They care for each other.
For my family, we're in this for the long run.
It's truly a family. Everything else is secondary.
Signarama's home.
Yeah, it's a real family. You are not alone.
Signarama has become our life legacy. And we're still going, man. Rock and roll.
It's amazing to look back on all of the things we've accomplished, but most importantly, the relationships. I can sit here and say that it's the relationships that make Signarama so special.
This is why I love this job, is I love the relationships, I love the people, and I have lifelong friends. We're made up of a bunch of people's stories and their experience and their businesses and their hard work. There's been ups and downs. It's all got us to where we are today, 40 years.
The people, the brand, the industry, the process, it's an indelible mark. I wouldn't trade any of it, ever.
There's a bug in here.
I'll give autographs out later.
We're rolling. We're good.
Yeah.
I think you want to do one of the clapper deals. What's it called?
We don't need that.
I'm gonna do one.
You wanna do it?
Okay, no, that's good.
I still have nightmares.
Prior to COVID, I could probably count. Oh yeah, we never made a sneeze guard before.
Yeah.
Then we made thousands of them.
I gotta kill this. Okay.
I didn't even know he started.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my
He's
gosh.
just about to get started now.
Great. All of a sudden, I was like, oh, we're doing this. I should stop fidgeting. Okay.
God, I can only imagine what the award ceremonies are like right now. Oh my God, they must be so boring.
I just want a sign in the urinal that I just want to get something that says Jim Butler was here. I may not get a plaque somewhere, but I just want it in that executive hallway. I want that sign over the urinal.
I guarantee you he's gonna do the same thing without you even saying anything.
There's going to be a few F-bombs in his.
Yeah.
There's another one. Sit down so I can film.
We spent years.
I was going to sneeze. No, I was going to sneeze. Go ahead.
You're doing super late now. It's
Yeah, all right. We're good. Sorry. I was trying to move out of the frame so they could just zoom into you on that one.
Good.
Signorama.
I have some fun, like some PG. Let me think.
I think Ray said this at a Christmas party once, that there were at least 2 times a year that he seriously considered firing me. Yeah, I had some issues. Yeah, I had some issues.
I feel like there are owners, many owners, I could call in the middle of the night who answer the phone.
Yes.
If I'm in jail, I have so many people I could call if I were in jail.
And Max Taha, I hired. I'm very, very proud of Max. But Max didn't speak for the first 2 years that he worked here.
Oh, burning the store to the ground and leaving? Definitely.
Yeah. Probably once a quarter.
At least. Yeah. Done.
The sucker wants to sit on my glasses.
I feel like I'm kind of all over the place when he asks questions. Is it okay?
I'm kind of bummed you did that whole interview and you did not self-proclaim yourself as an equipment junkie.
my addiction to buying sign equipment.
Yeah. You didn't
No, it's
mention it
real.
once.
Have you seen Napoleon Dynamite? Where in the back of the bus, one of the very first scenes, it's like, what are you gonna do today, Napoleon? Gosh, whatever I feel like. That's what I feel like it is watching Bob Chappa. It's like, Bob, what are you gonna do today? Whatever I feel like.
I like attention. I get this, I like attention. And I'm only firing at 80% today.
I didn't curse the whole time. It was good.
No, that was good.
Yeah, you can put this in the bloopers.
I mean, that's not a funny story. That's just a Tuesday. I mean, what?
We just keep buying sign equipment and
My kids couldn't wear shoes
we stack it upstairs, find some
because of his addiction.
Yeah.
Well, and I apologize because I tend to take over the conversation.
I killed him.
There we go.
You're dead.
I thought we were really done, and we're not.
No. I got a few more things, man. I got a few more things. Shit.
We're doing.
So yeah, I mean, it's been quite a journey.
But you used to wear a shirt and tie every day.
I used to wear a shirt and tie.
Every day.
Not a jacket, but a shirt and
Then
tie.
we had
And then one day I was at the 30-inch laminator trying to apply graphics to a board, and my tie got caught in the laminator and it was pulling me down. I had to hit the emergency stop button, and that was the last time I wore a tie.